Professor Julius Nyanzi is a science commissioner. He's a founder, Prof. Bioresearch, and is also an author. He authored a very beautiful book that we all love, Money Grows on Trees. Ladies and gentlemen, with a big round of applause, let's welcome him one more time.
When we talk about sexual health, it is a broad topic, and most people relate it with women. Bakiriletinga n'abaki n'abakyala. But it is cross-cutting. Abasajja nabo balina challenges the same way women have challenges. But when we look at sexual health, it goes beyond sex. Because when you talk about sexual health, most people relate with sex. But that ability to have a peace of mind when you're having sex, and also to have a healthy reproductive system, is something we call sexual health. Now today, I'm going to talk about 5 problems or disorders which affect our sexual health. Number 1 is endometriosis. Endometriosis, it's a big problem. There is also PID. PID affects women. PID, pelvic inflammatory disease. We also have infections, vaginal what? Infections. We have fibroids. It's another big problem. Fibroids are becoming very, very rampant, and is causing a lot of issues among even young girls. Then, finally, I'll talk about breast sagging. To see how we can rescue them, because it's a psychological issue. Women don't love it, though at times there's nothing much you can do about it, especially when age clocks in. When age what? Clocks in. So let me begin with a very new problem which many women are experiencing, which is endometriosis. That continued bleeding. What is happening? Basically, that condition happens when the lining of the uterus, those uterine cells, they grow out, and then they are spread to other parts of the reproductive system, like the fallopian tubes, your digestive system, ovaries, and also the kidney. And what normally happens, they continue bleeding as if you're menstruating. It has caused a big problem because many women have become infertile. Actually, the leading cause of infertility now is endometriosis. Endometriosis is a condition whereby the cells of the uterus grow outside the uterus. It causes a lot of pain, abdominal pain, on top of having infertility. Most women have not been able to identify that problem through diagnosis, but it is becoming rampant. And every 15 women you see, 10 have that problem, especially in European countries. Even here, it is coming through. The rate here, it is 15 per 100. 15 women you see, that is about 15%. 15 women, and they are keeping silent. Some people are called barren. Nti oyo mugumba takola ki? Tazaala. But the problem is endometriosis. So it's a big challenge, and one of the symptoms is heavy periods. You experience a lot of heavy periods, what we call heavy menses. Omusayi guba muki? Mungi ogukuvaamu. You have painful intercourse. Golooza omusajja yabala mwanyiza abala, kumbe it is endometriosis. Omwana galo group omusajja owange. So those cells behave as if the man is totally inside the uterus. That is just here, midway. But just because they are out, they have that sensation. And those cells also inflame, zizimba. Because when they get out of the uterus, they become inflamed. Kati bwe zizimba, your vagina becomes narrowed. Noba ng'oli mufunda ki nnyo. So that is another problem that condition brings about. In so doing, the other thing, waliwo abantu abakozesa reusable pads. It's a good idea, but if you're not hygienic, those cells, some of them remain, what we call the endometriosis cells. When they remain in those pads and you use it, they can go back inside and then they go into your tubes and you get endometriosis. Those cells. So it's not recommended if you're not hygienic to be reusing those pads. It's better you discard. Use, you discard. So that one has also brought a big problem. Reusable pads, especially among women or young girls who are not hygienic. So hygiene is very important when we are treating this problem. Then the other thing is, I've told you, those reusable pads. I've told you another point is we have a problem of abortion. Abaana abato bajjamu ki embuto, and even elderly women. So forced abortions, they force those cells to come out, and when they come out forcefully, because others use traditional ways, others drink a lot of tea, others use castor seeds, others use funny things, metals, to remove the pregnancy. So some cells escape and they get clinged on the lining, the uterine lining, and then they begin growing from outside. So it is not recommended to have unsafe abortions. Basically, abortions are not good unless otherwise, because that process okukaka okujjamu omwana oyuza nabaana. Are we together? Nabaana bw'ogiyuza nga cells za nabaana zifuluma wabweru. Bwezifuluma wabweru nga zitandika okulira wabweru. Ate cells ezo bwe zikulira wabweru zikuwa false narrative nti oli mu periods naye nga toli mu ki periods. Kati n'owulira nga lukaseera ogenda mu periods kubanga they bleed and also they get inflamed. Enzymes ne hormones byonna bizikolako bulungi n'ofuna false pregnancy. N'owulira nga ali olubuto nga naye toli ki lubuto. N'olwekyo abortion si nnungi nnyo bw'oba bw'agala kikola. Look out for the experts, because ekyo kye kireese endometriosis mu bakyala abangi nnyo okulaba nti ebakosezza. N'olwekyo you can do safe abortions if there isn't any other option when the worst comes to the worst. Mu mbeera eyo, what do we need to do omuntu okwewala endometriosis? So first and foremost, tulina okukola ka V-steaming. Ka V-steaming kalungi nnyo, kajjamu cells ezo kaziruza enninga. It is very important you do V-steaming. V-steaming mugimanyi? V-steaming ondetere yawo ka rosemary oil. Kati V-steaming mulengejja jangu. It's called gamulengejja. He has big testicles. So this is the equivalent of V-steaming, but this is an illustration. So what you do, you get a bucket. You raise up gamulengejja. So you get a bucket with hot water. In the middle. Okay, all right. Women have issues. They want to see gamulengejja. You get like a bucket of hot water. You bring rosemary. Bring here rosemary. Kasumari. This is kasumari. This is my team. Kasumari and gamulengejja. So you get a bucket of hot water. You put 10 liters of hot water. You put like 20 drops of rosemary. And you put underneath the center bolot. That is V-steaming. tebalabya V-steaming center boloti.
Gamulaga bulungi abantu.
Center boloti is okay, your vagina. Okay, you remove your clothes. You don't do it in the sitting room. Tochikolera mu sitting room. Okozesa bathroom. Then you can get a chair. You put that bucket underneath. Then you steam for 20 minutes. It's called what? Steaming. Especially if you have irregular periods. Because irregular periods bring about retaining of those uterine cells which begin growing with time. Nechikuletera endometriosis. So this steaming is recommended with rosemary oil. Our ancestors abatusooka bajjajjaffe basenga, they would use shrubs, nga bakozesa shrubs, leaves and the like. So with this type of thing is suitable for those people with irregular what? Periods. Periods nga zikyuka ozwamu. That is the only person I can recommend the steaming. Okozaamu ziri cells ezisigala mu tubes kubanga ze zireeta endometriosis. So it's very important you do the steaming. Kati we continue? Are we together? Waliwo bwendese buloba? No, we are going to Buziga. I want you to see things. Then we continue that subject. So the solution is that keep this steaming to prevent. Now, what if you have the problem already? You have the problem. When you have the problem, you drink rosemary. You drink rosemary oil. Rosemary oil is anti-inflammatory. Gwonywa na kolachi nata cells zandi expanded. Those cells which would expand, you would kill them. Okay, that is a big point on endometriosis. I don't know the approach, or I can continue and you ask, or at this moment you ask. I continue. Yes, it's very important. Then the other thing which disturbs women is PID. Pelvic inflammatory disease. PID is also another challenge. What really happens? How do you know that you have that problem? First and foremost, when you urinate, you feel that burning sensation. Omusulo guba gukola ki? Gukwocha nnyo. When you feel that burning sensation, it's one of the signs that you have PID. Though it may be caused by a UTI, but it's one of the key signs if you have that burning sensation when you're urinating. Then the other thing is painful sex. We are talking about, this is all part of sexual. Yeah, painful sex, especially among people in different mizigo rentals. I don't know what happens there, Gamulengeja, but you hear a lot of noise. Have you ever experienced that? It's always painful. People shout and shout. So PID brings about pain. That inflammation brings about pain. It's another symptom or sign. And also fever. After playing sex, you get fever. Omusajja ono mulogo mbeera naye sujja gukola ki gunkwata. You get olokenderawo wagaino. What is happening to me? Each time I have sex, I get fever, I get chills. Or you go to a pharmacy, you ask for some medication. But normally, it's one of the signs of PID. Then you get pain. There's that sharp pain which comes around the abdominal area. It is another indicator of inflammation, what we call pelvic inflammation. What brings about this sexual problem? Ekireta sexual problem ekirala is having a man with gonorrhea. Omwami nga alina enziku. Era bwe wali otomeddeko omusajja alina enziku, gonorrhea. it brings about pelvic inflammation. Enziku mugimanyi? Gonorrhea. Normally in Uganda they call them abazira because when they are urinating they shout a lot. Balekana. That gonorrhea, if you have sex with a man with gonorrhea, you get PID. Yeah? PID normally attacks such women. So in order to avoid that, what we do, if you suspect, but the best thing is to check this man before having sex. Do some checkups. Yeah? Do some checkups, especially regarding sexually transmittable infections and diseases, STIDs. So go for checkups, because if you get exposed to such a man, eventually the chances of getting PID, they are 80%. Then the other thing is having multiple sexual partners. If you're on the sexual network, you serve all those. So such brings about PID, because you may find that Gamulengeja has Candida, Kasumari has gonorrhea, yeah? Papa's Fulu has STI. At the end of the day, you take in all those pathogens. So those pathogens keep multiplying. Remember, some are fungal, bukukuku zamunda, they are fungal. Others are bacterial. So before you know it, they spread, and they go into your tubes, and then you get PID. So that is another sexual problem, pelvic inflammatory disease. How do you go about it naturally? You can use yogurt. Do you know yogurt? Yogurt has what we call good bacteria, lactobacillus. When you get yogurt, you mix with neem oil. Have you ever heard about neem oil? Neem oil is called Mutimu albaine. It's a bitter plant. Normally they use it to treat malaria. They used to plant it around the compound. So that plant has seeds. The seeds are called neem seeds. The Baswahili call it Mutimu albaine, a tree which treats 40 ailments. So you get a tablespoon of yogurt and you put 10 drops, then you put inside the vagina. I wanted to cover, but now I know there are no young children. I'll call it the way it is. I'll call a spade what? A spade. So you smear inside the vagina. That brings about the good bacteria, which will protect you from other disease-causing bacteria like the gonorrhea bacteria, the candida fungus, and all those bacteria which cause vaginosis. That's bad smell. So use yogurt. Yogurt is good therapy. You can continue using it if you are talking about sexual health in the area of vaginal health. It's very important. Use that. Another thing you can always do is to recommend your partner to move with neem oil and yourself, because neem oil helps you to prevent exposures from public toilets. You know, Gamulengeja, when he's urinating, he stands on the toilet seat. Because as he sits, these things swim. So to avoid that, he stands. So when he stands, that means he's infecting the toilet seat. And once you share such a toilet seat with a person of this caliber, then you get exposed to bacteria and fungus like candida and the like. So you don't take anything for granted. When you go to a public toilet, neem oil should be your companion. It is very important to have neem oil with you in order to avoid such infections. Neem oil is a powerful antibacterial and antifungal, even antiviral. I've been to China, but Chinese use neem oil, especially when they are buying these prostitutes on the street. They smear. And when you find out why they do that, they tell you they don't want to get exposed to infections. So neem oil is a powerful medicine. But the men here don't do that. Be faithful. You may say, Omukenkufu yatugamba. You just see me, Omutakase Jombwe. Even if you get a prostitute. No. The other one is a preventive approach. So neem oil is very, very important. Actually, neem oil kills about 500 pathogens. So it is very important you prevent exposure to infections each time you use a toilet. And the good thing with neem oil, it doesn't affect your vaginal good bacteria, or what we call the microflora. So that is the second problem among women. The first one was what? Yes? Endometriosis. You forgive me their scientific names, but good enough you've understood what the problem is. The second one is what? PID. Then they have the third sexual problem we normally experience. I'm telling you the problem and also the natural solution. If you don't use neem oil, you can crush garlic, because neem oil and garlic, they are the same. They have the same component, which is allicin, which is a powerful compound. So allicin is popular in neem oil and also garlic. But if you're not comfortable with the smell of both, you go with yogurt. But yogurt is not as effective, though it is preventive. But when it involves treating, neem oil is the most recommended option. Even in agriculture, we use neem. The Indians are making a natural pesticide called nimbedicine. Nimbedicine comes from neem. It's a powerful plant and it's highly effective. Now, the third sexual problem is Candidiasis and infections. Normally, we know them as UTIs. UTIs, they are a big challenge now. You may find that someone keeps on discharging morning, evenings, afternoons, the whole day and night. They are discharges and they have given up on life. Candida, as we refer to it in Luganda, Candida, but in English we call it Candidiasis, is caused by a pathogen or a fungus called Candida albinicans. Basically what it does, it contaminates your vagina and it makes you okukukula. You mold. Omuchala akola chi? Okukula. When you kukukula, like anything which is molded, even the smell changes. If you see a molded bread, the smell is quite what? Different. It's a very different smell. So that happens also. Akawowa akakuvamu tekaba kachi kalungi. It causes a lot of itching. You keep on scratching and scratching. And the worst thing, it makes you have that bad body odor, especially between the thighs and the private part. What we call embarakaso. Embarakaso zibera ziunya. Kamulengeja used to have a smelling kaso. And the worst thing about it, he scratches and he smells to find out how terrible the smell is. But fungus, they cause bad smell by all means. So Candida is a very big problem. And what is causing Candida to become a serious problem? It is because we consume a lot of sugar. Sugary drinks are all over the place. And those sugars feed this fungus. You find that even in the sauce we take, they put sugar there. They put a lot of sweeteners. But there are good sweeteners which don't ferment, like stevia and amatugunda. So one way to heal permanently from the Candida scourge or Candida problem is to get away from sugar. You may find that most young people now, they are suffering from Candida or Candidiasis because of the sweet things they like. They have a sweet tooth. They take cakes. They take a lot of things. So what we can do in order to treat such a problem is to first get off sugar. If I want to kill rats in my home without poisoning them, if I find that I scatter a lot food, leftover food. The best thing to do is to stop having that leftover food. The rats will migrate. This is the same principle. If you want to kill candidiasis and UTIs, urinary tract what? Infections. Get away from sugar, especially fermentable sugars. The likes of honey. Honey ferments. If you have candidiasis, honey is not a good substitute because honey has what we call fructose. Normally other people take cane sugar, that one has sucrose. Milk has lactose. Those are all sugars. So in order to treat this problem decisively, the best option you can do is to use stevia, because stevia is non-fermentable, and also you can use monk fruit. There's a sweetener, very sweet. I don't know if they have tested. About 2 drops sweeten half a liter of the drink, whatever you're drinking, porridge, juices, and the like. So that is it, because this stems from the sugary drinks we take. And candidiasis still happens because it feeds off the sugar. That's the reason as to why diabetic people with diabetes have a lot of this problem. Abantu abalina sukari balina candida tabagwako bikaseera betakula bafuna discharge. And at the same time, even UTIs are very common among people with diabetes because they have a lot of sugar load in their blood. These pathogens feed off from that sugar. And what normally happens, candida agenda nakuzibikira n'enseke era naletwa obuzibu bw'amaanyi nnyo. So to avoid that, get off from sugar. Then killing the candidiasis or the Candida albinicans, we use eucalyptus. Eucalyptus has been proven effective. So we mix eucalyptus and castor and you smear. That is the best solution you can ever do in order to win over that war against candidiasis. It is a big problem, especially even newborns. Newborns, they have UTIs, they have candida. Olaba akana kato ketakula, mugenyi azesezaala ketakula. So you can use that approach. It will be very, very helpful. And the other thing which has caused another problem of that surge is the contraceptives women are using, the IUDs, the intrauterine devices. It's because they keep these spores, they keep the seeds, the eggs, then the eggs keep on hatching. And if you have a man, abaliga, who's not faithful, they keep on reinfecting you always. So to avoid that, castor, you know castor oil. Yeah, castor, you mix it with eucalyptus. Like a tablespoon, you put 5 drops. First, it will put away the bad smell. Smell imbi, which comes with the candidiasis, smell fermentation. Then second to that, it will kill the eggs, or what we call the spores. So that is a solution, dear ladies, which can help you with that problem of UTIs and candida. Internally, get off sugar. If you can do without sugar, the better. If you can't do away with the sugar, you can use better sugar substitutes like stevia and monk fruit. Then you smear castor oil and eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is very good and it doesn't burn. The mixing is very important because if you don't mix eucalyptus with the castor to bring that burning irritation. But the best approach is to use a tablespoon of castor and 3 drops of eucalyptus. That will help you with your sexual health journey. Eyo yakusatu. Eyokuna. Which other problem do you want me to talk about? Nalumanso ali bubingi. Nalumanso ali kuteboya. Before I go to let me go to the fourth one. The fourth one. Kangendeko sagging what? Breasts. It's a big challenge. What is causing sagging breasts? Men, what do they do? What do they do? They breastfeed you. That is not scientifically proven. So the cause of sagging breasts is the loss of collagen in your breast cells. Collagen is a connective issue. Yeringa elastic, yeringa chi? Elastic eyo wegende gwamu. Kireeta obuzibu. What is bringing that? UV exposure. Bajjajjaffe baali tebakola ki? Tebalaga mabeere naye mulina bu dress up babuyita cleavage. Gamulengeje omukyala wayambala cleavage. Cleavage eyo. The sun shines on your what? Breasts. Ogenda Kampala olaga wangenda Kampala kambalageko. You keep exposing your breasts to the sun UV rays. UV rays ezo, they cause the connective tissue to sag. Basically refer to the elastic component of your breast being lost. Oba mu Luganda kye tuyita lastika. Nti empale eweddemu ki? Lastika olaba obonaabona nayo we twayasomera in our primary nga lastika bweggwa mu mpale oswala underpart erabika olwana emaaso walabika. So that is the thing which happens. So the elastic component is lost, which is the collagen. Collagen is lost. That is number one cause of sagging breast. Temukyagala kwambala buleega. Not mutujju, but I mean gravity. Mabere gabeera geewuuba. That gravity also, it's good. Not to over-put on breast wound, the bras. Because at times, some breast bras have a problem. The problem they have chemicals and they like, especially second hand. But I know people who are here, they are past that level. I don't expect any woman who is in this hall to be dressing up in those second hand bras. But now that sagging component, ebonyabonyanya collagen, nabanga ananuka, that brings about breast sagging. The loss of collagen through gravity. Waliwo ekyala bakiyita hormonal changes. You're on pills. Hormonal what? Pills for family planning. Those hormonal pills, they stimulate a lot of estrogen production in the body. You know, when you have a lot of estrogen, the breasts grow bigger. I'm working so hard to develop a natural family planning. And natural family planning, one of the most popular one is using castor seeds. Castor seeds, you swallow them after periods. So basically what you do, the castor seed has an outer coat. The outer coat is called ricin. Bajitani, ricin. The outer coat, that ricin is kind of toxic. It causes diarrhea. So to prevent getting running stools, you remove the outer coating and you swallow 2 seeds after your periods. When you swallow 2 seeds after your periods, those castor seeds prevent estrogen production. Estrogen is a hormone responsible for menstruation and also pregnancy. But you find that the hormonal pills we swallow and even the injections bring about increased levels of estrogen. And increased levels of estrogen bring about obesity and weight gain. Kyovula abakyala batandika okukozesa pills abamu bagaining a lot of weight. Kati the gaining the weight n'amabeere gakola ki? Gagejja. And once they begin growing bigger, that means the collagen can no longer support the structure of the breast. So it is very important okulaba nti okozesa natural family planning. Ekyo nakyo kikuyambako okuziyiza breast sagging, because increased production of estrogen brings about breast sagging. era olaba ne mugaba yeeyongera. Mugaba mumanyi stretch marks. Yeah? Stretch marks show increase in weight gain. Era people who are on those pills, they begin gaining weight and also having a lot of stretch marks. Have you realized? Stretch marks become the order of the day. So it is another problem using hormonal-based. If you're going to your doctor, gynecologist, ask about if the family planning technique he is suggesting or she's suggesting, if it is hormonal-based. And you see, women are having a lot of fibroids and breast lumps. It's because of the increased estrogen. Estrogen stimulates cell division. It stimulates cell dividing and also differentiation. Then the cells begin differentiating in your breast and they grow into a lump. When they grow into a lump, you begin breastfeeding. Some milk remains in the breast. The lump begins rotting. Getandika okukola ki? Okuvunda. Before you know it, it is breast cancer. Kyobala breast cancer yekoze ki? Yeyongedde olwa estrogen hormones ezo, contraceptives, fibroids zikoze ki? Zeyongedde. Even these people who are making concentrates, they are using hormones. These steroid hormones. Olya akakokoko bakakubye eddagala kagejje, you find the same hormone in the chicken. Ngotandika funa side effects. So we should go organic if you want to handle our sexual health and these problems related to sexual health. We should go organic. Organic foods are the way to go. But this fast meat, fast foods, chicken, triple C, abachala baagala nnyo triple C. Chaps what? Chicken. But kanaka kukoba kaleeta one day. In 14 days kali ku market. And it's so big. And you keep wondering. So they are using hormones, steroid hormones, to make this body grow very fast and also become very fatty. Now those hormones remain. And once you take that chicken, now hormones zitandika stimulating. Remember, you're getting the hormones from the birds, the chicken. And now you also have a hormonal-based pill you're swallowing. And you have even the natural estrogen produced by your body. So ekyo nekireeta sexual problems ez'amaanyi nnyo naddala fibroids ne breast lumps. Era as I conclude, another problem, temulina kunywera mu plastic naddala abakyala. Kireeta hormonal imbalance. You see, even the Sheraton, they know it. They no longer serve plastic mineral water. It is glass, especially 5-star hotels. Now, plastics affects men and women. Plastic has what we call endocrine disruptors, especially if you put hot things in plastic. Bw'okwata ebintu ebyokya n'obiteeka mu plastic, it brings a lot of issues. What really happens? Plastic, for example, a cup may be red in color. You keep drinking that color ink. Before you know it, it is now pinkish. Where has that color gone? You've drank it. And that color, what it does, it goes to your breast cells, it tells them divide. We call them endocrine disruptors. It goes to your uterus, it tells the uterine cells divide. Drinking hot things in is causing also issues to do with sexual health, especially fibroids, breast lumps, and the like. So what is the solution to sagging breasts? How do we bring back the collagen in our breasts? We use collagen promoting thing. We have turmeric butter, a butter of turmeric, a chinzari. When you get a chinzari and you mix it with the red comb, do you know the red comb? Oluwonzi. Enkoko ina that red thing. The best natural source of collagen is the red comb. Oluwonzi lw'enkoko, that red thing. Nekirevu. If you squeeze it and you make powder and you mix it with turmeric, echinzari, and also butter. It can be shea butter, mango butter, cocoa butter. When you get that product, it brings back the cells. It firms down the breasts. And then if you mix with the castor oil, you know it, and soga, and also what we call Christmas tree. The combination of the three brings back the tutu nerikorachi, and use it after bathing. Ate bobo kozesa up, from down up. Ositula muko, tosa wansi mukabuli, ositula mubanga. Sky, you sky lift. In 90 days, vajagamba, wow. What happened? The tutu lifumita omutima. And for us men, olaba ku tutu ng'omutima gusumulukuka. Bebe Kulu said it. Nze bwe nkulabako nga waleeta ekola ki? Simulukuka. Kugamba byonna by'olina byonna ebyange twala. Yeah, so basically it's collagen. We lose collagen through using plastics, using chemicals, I told you hormones, and even UV exposure. So when you use that, that is the best remedy. And finally, the last sexual problem is dryness, frigidity. I don't know what's happening. That's what men say. Yeah? So it's a big sexual problem also. Dryness. Sexual dryness. I think that will be my last point for the night. Vaginal dryness. And it's happening a lot because of infections. The infections I talked about cause dryness. No bangoli mukalu. What the dotika amazito kaina what they drop. So infections block the vaginal glands. Infections like Candidiasis, UTIs, they form a slime, but bitekawa kabubi, which blocks the vaginal gland. Now, the vaginal gland is responsible for releasing fluids. It is responsible for releasing fluids, especially vaginal fluids. Even squirting water. Gamulengeja the Wi-Fi, we treated her. Nangamba yaziba amaso katachalaba bulungi. It happened so, it was so massive. So, what do we need to do? Infections nabagambe kozesa coconut and neem oil. Then stress because of money. Good enough, we brought the doctor of money, Professor Newton. We have the doctor of love, Dr. Mariam. Stress, handling marriage and relationships. It's very important. Otherwise, it's another sexual problem which is disturbing a lot of women. And they keep on taking a lot of things, which even some of them damage their reproductive system. So, having stress causes dryness, what we call frigidity. Having a problem of infections causes also dryness. Then, giving birth after childbirth, the men who are here, after giving birth, there is hormonal change in a woman. So, if there is a hormonal change and you keep on soliciting for sex, asking and demanding, it affects her physically and also mentally. So, muchala wazala, muwe ku time, soka one, otherwise, she's still at the play of prolactin. Prolactin is a hormone responsible for milk production. Omuchala, the body is just kumuteeka afuna amata gachi g'omwana gwe ebyasompo wakola ebibyo n'afuna olubuto. Kati the hormone responsible for feeling of love, estrogen and progesterone, is no longer there at play. It is at its low. Now, which hormone is high? Prolactin. Prolactin is responsible for milk production. So, ochiwamu time, amabere bagamala okuja nega stabilizing, the prolactin levels will also go down. Estrogen, eddemu ekoleki, epeaking, ekyo nakyo kireeta dryness. Most men don't know it. Kyobola omukyala yazaaliranga waabwe mu traditional African setup. Ng'omukyala avaawo ewuwo myezi 9 n'agenda ewaani wa maama, kubanga bajjajja bakimanyi nti musajja ono ajja kumulingiriza, ajja musoberera ng'ate tali mu mood. That brings about what we call sexual trauma. Having sex when you're not interested, when the body is not in the mood, it brings about psychological sexual trauma, and you hate it forever. And most men keep on complaining. What really happened? Omukyala ono bwe yamala okuzaala ayagala junior yekka. We forced her when prolactin was high, and it remains on her memory. She will hate you forever. So it's better you allow her to go home so that she can be nursed. Nursing means they are trying to put down the prolactin level. Prolactin omwana agyetaaga because it is responsible for milk what? Production. Amabeere, abakyala abatalina mabeere nga agayonsa, breastfeeding milk, it is because they don't have enough prolactin. Once you stimulate prolactin, she will get enough breast milk. Ate when the breast milk is there, wansi wafa, mood efa ne interest ekola ki? Efa. Wano wamala kendeera prolactin wadda wansi ne waddamu ne wapiikinga up. Then abalala, it is a matter of identifying the most two sensitive parts of the woman from the scientific perspective. The most two sensitive parts, which have millions and billions of cells, two spots, the C spot and the G spot. For a woman, most women have water or they are not dry, but just that the men, they don't know where these spots are. Bamanyi kimu, kasubi nabulagala kinawataka, kasubi nabulagala paka lugala kimotoka nga kikutuka. The most two important spots, the C spot and the G spot. You don't have even to drink a lot of herbs. Once your man knows those two spots, the C spot is above the center body. Okay, the vagina up there. It is covered by a cover, some sheath of skin. But inside there, if the man can rub it very well, the vaginal glands respond. They respond when the C spot says, "Oh, mfa, ngafujja liver zambezi." That is the C spot. Most men don't know it. So teach them where the C spot is. Then the G spot. The G spot is that at the upper of the vagina. Upper. But most men don't know it, where the G spot. So what G spot has the highest number of sensory cells, which sends the message to the brain that bankruse mukaniso. Then the brain sends the message to the vagina, open up, byonna bimuwe. So the G spot, you can train your men to use circular motion. Akukwatako nga bw'avuga clockwise and anti-clockwise. Avuga awandika sawa. You know the clock, how it moves. Clockwise, akuvuga muka clockwise and anti-clockwise. Clockwise, that problem will be no more. Clockwise hits the G spot. Because over-stimulating it is also painful. Chovola tugira clockwise nagikonako, anti-clockwise tagikonako. So basically, that is our sexual health. I want to end here. It's not my night, but I think I've tried to exhaust the key problems in sexual health and giving you remedies.
Wow. What a presentation.
What an education. I am seeing people shying away. but yet we are affected. Silently, there is a lion in the room. Feel like, hey, now professor is talking about something sensitive, and it's very sensitive. Can we clap for the professor, ladies and gentlemen?